Hey folks. So, I've been sitting here thinking about another video to do. And, I've done a lot of videos and, ideas pop in my head all the time. But this time I was just kind of like, I wasn't really sure as to what I wanted to do. So I was really thinking, So I started looking around because, I look at what I've done before. And this popped up. And it was this little thing I did a while back there, and I did the styrofoam cutout situation. There goes my nose again. See, told you. But here you are. Look, you can see I've done this, but it's all done on styrofoam. Yeah, this is done on this stuff. Yeah, just on styrofoam. And what happened was I had built it all up like a little box, and then I pushed down on it. I cut little grooves and everything like that to make it look like it was wood, maybe, and the final part of that was too is that people would actually go to pick it up and I'd say, oh, it's really heavy, and they'd be like, oh, and then, oh, it's super light, right? So it wasn't actually as heavy as they thought it was. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to do a face like this. I have an idea. I'm going to do that. So I'm going to get started on that. So just like always, can you hit the like button, do the bell for notification, and subscribe, right? So watch the video. Basically, I'm going to show you how I'm going to do this. It'll look pretty cool, I think. All right, guys? Cool. So let's watch. Let's see what happens. Yes, I almost forgot. Because I was wearing a nice shirt, and then I realized, I better go and put my smock on or Sue's going to kill me. So I put my smock on, and the last time I think you saw one of these smocks, there was nothing on here. And of course I had to sit and start drawing on them. So I've already done that, and I love it. It's turning out kind of cool. So I'll just keep working on it, and fill the whole thing in. And if I get a little bit of mess on it, who cares, right? So sit back, let's watch this video on using styrofoam to make a nice pretty picture. Okay, cool. Alright, what kind of things do I need to do this project? Well, probably a marker will work, right? What do you think, Rabbit? Blade, yeah. Maybe some tools for poking and pushing and that. Another blade for cutting, and a pencil, and something else there. And then you can use, you'll need some sandpaper. Yeah, definitely need some sandpaper. But you can use different things to make different impressions too, right? So something like banging it with a hammer will work also. Sometimes the end of something you can actually use to push down on. So anything like that is going to help you. Now, what I'm going to do is real simple. I'm going to take some pre-cut pieces and make a frame. Right, and again, I don't have to worry too much about it being perfect because basically what it's going to do is I'm going to rough it up as I go. I think, let's see what else we got going here. Nope, that didn't work. Oh yeah, I got a little pre-cut piece right here, right, and that, and then thought I had this already pre-cut, but look, here's the beauty of this. I just took my finger right here and made a little quick cut across, upside down, right? And bang, just pop that off, and that'll give me the length that I need, right? And that looks like, it actually kind of looks like it's broken up there. And I think that's what I'm going to do, is try to make it look broken. The other thing too is don't worry about the lettering because you're going to paint on top, right? If it does seem to show up a little bit, just sand it a tiny touch. And I'll probably take enough away and then paint it, right? So basically right now, all we're going to do is just paint this. We're going to paint it with black with maybe a little bit of a mixture of another color into it, simply to make it not straight black. And then that's it. Nice and straightforward. Pretty simple. So I grabbed some black paint here, which was a Liquitex ink paint type thing that I used here. That'll be in the description. Sorry guys, right there. And then I just grabbed some old folk paint and use that, and with some purple. I'm going to mix that up, and then I'm just going to paint it right on top. So it'll just kind of give a little bit of a different look. Okay? So once it's all mixed up, right, just going to do exactly what anybody else does, just paint the heck out of this styrofoam. See? Not. You just paint directly right on top, right? And once you've filled that all in, right, I'm gonna redo my little things. I'll then glue those to it, and that'll be that. So there you are. Dries easy, right? Doesn't take a lot of work. Boom, you're done, right? So anyways, we'll do this on the old fast forward situation. So I've done the first coat. You can see the way I have the frames on here. I have them on loosely. I am going to glue them on, even though the paint would dry, it'd probably adhere them, but it might not be strong enough. So I'm definitely going to wait for glue. The other thing too is that you can also do a second coat once you're finished, right? And then if you need to sand or fix anything up just to kind of make it look nice before you start to actually make your impression inside. Alright guys, so here I'm going to do is, I've painted it, but I'm going to now sand it and then I'll repaint it, and that way so we'll get all the burrs off, anything like that. So, you know, just simple, straightforward, like that type of thing. If you do a little edging, kind of gives a little bit more of an old rock kind of a look to it, right? Basically I just wanted to kind of look like it's a picture that maybe gets hung up that somebody would think that was, you know, it's older than what it actually is, right? So, let's see how I just kind of, see how I make the little edging like that? Nice and simple and easy. Take all the burrs off of where I was cutting and that, clean this up a little later. But, you'll see, got it cleaned up. And the nice thing too is the paint actually grabs onto that real nice and easy when you do that. So yeah, first coat, then I'll do a second coat. I'll show you what it's all about when it's all done. A little bit of sanding, not that interesting to watch. So, I've got my glue here, my LePage glue. It's actually a wood glue, but I don't think it really matters what kind of glue you use. I know that the wood glue is one of the better ones. My dad loved it for when he was doing his woodwork. He always talked about how good this glue was. So all I'm going to do is simply just apply the glue on the bottom. As you can see, nothing really too hard, right? Make it kind of goopy, right? I think when you if you actually use this glue when it comes to wood, if you glue it and it breaks, it won't break where the glue was. It'll break anywhere else but where the glue was. So that's why my dad loved this stuff, right? And then I'm going to add another piece here, right? It's real straightforward and simple. Just taking a paintbrush, slapping that on like that, right? You can see that. It's not that hard, right? You know, so the thing is, this is kind of one of those things, is like, sometimes I do artwork, sometimes I do art and project kind of together. So I kind of blend the two, right? Oops, also bumped the computer and my head. Seems to be an accident day today. Had a few today. All right, so got the last little piece here left. I'm gonna slap that on there. Gonna let this dry, as I said, and then you will see that I will then put a piece of artwork in the middle. It's gonna be cool. It's gonna be cool, guys. It's gonna be cool. Okay, I realized that I didn't like the opening so big on the bottom, so I'm going to cut out another chunk here and do up this piece too, and that. So I'm just going to chop this out of here, and oh, there we are. Yeah, come in a little bit on an angle, and that'll hopefully, yeah, that'll work. All right, there we are. Cool. Yeah, that's what I wanted. That's what I wanted. Okay, there we are. So now that works, and then I'll paint that up and sand that too. Just exactly the way I thought it was gonna look. Yeah, see, I like that little, looks like a broken piece that came out of there. You know, looks good. I like it, I like it. So, what I've done here is I did a sketch off the camera, and I'm going to now tape that, and then I'll take a pencil and I'll start to engrave that into the actual foam. So I just want to basically get it into the proper placement, which I think is just about there. Looks good. little bit of tape, keep it in place, and there you are. Nice and simple, straightforward. And then I'm basically going to just take a pencil, like basic old pencil, and what I'll do is where I want my line, I'm going to sketch it in, right? So it shouldn't be too hard. And then what I can do is, if I need to, I can thicken up, I can thin out, whatever it needs, right? So just basically do this whole thing, run it all in there nice. And once that's finished, I can then start adding colors. I think it's going to look pretty cool. All right. Okay, folks, so I am finished this part. Basically, what I'm going to do is, it looks like my lines are good. You know, I'm going to have to basically kind of in a sense redraw, but I can see where I'm coming from. I can see my lines and stuff like that. Could have made a few of them heavier, but I don't want to go too heavy because I don't know how much impression I want to make on this to make it look right, you know. And the other thing too is I want to give depth, so I would need to have sometimes a little bit lighter, a little heavier. The other thing too is I apologize, I did the sketch off the camera. I'd done it last night real quick, and before I realized that I hadn't even filmed it. But yeah, it's going to be George and the dragon. And as you can see now, I can take my pencil here, right? And all I have to do is start making my little indentations that I want to make it look cool. Look at that, right? See that? Then I can follow right down, and if I need to, I can just use my picture here as a reference, right? So I can just kind of look over here and say, oh yeah, that's right, that part was that way. And, you know, because if you drew it, you should be able to redo it, right? If you drew it, you should be able to redo it. If you drew it, you should be able to redo it. Oh, that's a nice little saying there, Paul. Yeah, so now I can start adding my little extra details in. So that's what I'm going to do. Start adding the little extra details in, adding a bit of roughness to it, right? Whatever it takes, right? And it's going to give it a really nice look, and then I can add colors. And the pencil, I can basically kind of draw with it in a sense, because it goes light enough and dark enough that I can get my little extra lines in there and stuff like that. Yeah. Okay, so the rest I'm going to do on the fast mode. So guys, if you didn't notice, there's a little bit of white on there. And what I was going to say is that if you want to, or you're finding yourself having a little trouble seeing your details, or you want to see like, okay, how did I progress? You can simply do this. Do a little dry brush, right? Go across, gives you an idea of what you're doing. See if you need to fix up anything, right? Like that. And you don't have to worry because you're going to come back on that later. Again, you can just redo it in black and just keep working on it. So this way you get kind of an idea of what you're doing, and that way you're not going totally blind on it, because it is a little bit hard. You know, if you're somebody like myself whose eyes are okay but not great, you know, but I've got my outline, so I know where I'm going, but I just have to simply make sure that I can see everything that I want to. So, like where the face is, I'm just going to dry brush across that a little bit, just simply because I don't have a lot of dark lines, and I didn't hit that heavy enough with the pencil, but it'll be okay. Looks like I'm also going to have to maybe put a little hold on this for today, simply because my neighbor is getting her kitchen done, and there's going to be a lot of banging and crashing. There already has been. Oh well, we'll see what happens. Alright guys, so I've done the in part there, the actual drawing of George and the dragon, and I think what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to work the actual sides so that it has kind of a stone look about it. And all I'm using is the back of the pencil, moving around sometimes, push in, right? You know, make a couple of lines maybe, whatever, but you know, nothing where the pattern is like on the same, so it kind of looks like it's, you know, just happened. Like over time, a period of time, just worn down. So I think I'm going to do all the edging like that. I think that'll be fun. Yeah. And then I'll start hitting it with colors. And then, I'm going to sand it too, again, and then hit it with another coat of black. And then I'm going to hit it with my colors. Yeah, I think that's where we're at. So I think I might just take a chunk and cut it right out. And there we are. Yeah, I'm just going to take a chunk out. Jeez, and I cut my thumb. Can't believe that. I just cut my thumb. An extra little divot, you know, an extra little line in there, right? So, and I apologize again. I have my bloody thumb has not stopped bleeding. Wow, embarrassing. All right, so I'll just have to hold on for a second. Alright guys, so I have sanded it and that, re-sanded it as I said, and now I'm going to hit again with the black, and then, oops, don't knock the camera, Paul. I'm going to hit it with the black, and then I'm going to start adding colors. And then, I'm going to also actually put glue on top of it. Only reason being is that I've found a couple of times that some of the acrylic dries a little bit more like a dry, so when you go to use the markers or something like that, it kind of pulls everything up. So, but if you put a little bit of glue on top, it actually makes a surface so it's nice and smooth, and you can also press again for a second kind of impression, right? So you can get it. It looks really cool. So I'm going to do that. So it's all dry and everything like that. So I'm going to add my glue. Basically, what I said is that I find that if I add the glue, I could, you know, I mean, you could do it gesso. Yeah, absolutely. But I'm just being I don't know, cheap, you know, but, you know, brush it right on, and it'll dry clear, and that's the nice part of that, and then you can just work right on top of it, and that's the nice part of it too, is that it will, I find it just seems to catch the paint better. Especially if I'm going to use my oil markers and that my oil paint markers. If I'm going to use those, then chances are I'm going to probably find that the glue seems to give it a little better. The other thing too is if you decide to make more of an impression too, I find that it doesn't tear. It seems to have a bit of a stretch to it, so it allows for you to push a little harder without it actually ripping on you and that. So as I said, give a nice coat of glue. Yeah, good old-fashioned white glue. It's a nice little thing that works. The only thing that's ever a pain is if you get it wet again, the glue part will show up. So don't get it wet. There you are. That's simple. But there you are. I'm going to brush it on. I'll even brush it on this stuff here too. So I'll just basically fill the whole thing, and then just let it dry, you know. And if you're thinking it's like too thick, you know, early, and that, just grab some paper towel and just wipe away what you think might be a little bit too much, you know, and that. And it doesn't take very long for it to dry. There you are. Boom. Nice and simple. I'm just going to keep brushing that on until I'm happy. There you are. I'm going to let it dry and then work on top of it. Alright, just for the background, I'm just going to basically use a black and a white just to make it gray. I think that's about the nicest thing you can do, and then the rest will all be colored on top. I'm going to probably use my markers, but for the background, I'm just going to use acrylic paint. That's basically what I use. I just use the heck was that paint there? Yeah, basic. Just a thick paint. I'll just brush that on. I think that'll look nice, and that'll make it great for the background. So let's get that done. Here we are. We've done all the other stuff with it and everything like that, kind of pushed in on it, made sure. And then I've tested some colors, and now I'm going to go to town on it. So for the frame, what I'm going to do here is I've grabbed some oil markers, right? And I've grabbed about 3 different kinds of browns, or yellowy brown, and then I'll just keep working on top of it so it kind of gives a texture of kind of an old wood. I think that'll work. So I grabbed an old Bic pen, and I'm starting to actually carve into it a little bit more, because I didn't find there was enough texture there. So that's the nice thing about this situation, is that you can kind of come back on it even after you've done something that you thought, oh, well, you know what, maybe I can fix this a little bit or make it a little bit different. So yeah, I wanted a little bit more there, so I did that. I just basically scratched in some more lines to give it yeah, a little bit more of a old wood feel to it, and I think that's gonna work. And then what I'll be able to do is, with a lighter, I can just kind of go over that top, and you'll see how that kind of brings it out a little bit more, right? So you use the dark, the light, right? And just keep working on it. Yeah, see? Yeah, see, there it is. I like that. I like the way it's kind of starting to have a wood feel to it a little bit more, right? And then if you feel like, oh, well, you know, it kind of maybe too bright or whatever, you can take the darker and go opposite on it in the opposite direction and make your line go deeper and thicker. That's it. Pretty simple. I'll just keep working on it. Okay, we've got background with the gray, and now the brown for the framing, so it kind of gives it that nice woody kind of feel. And now it's time to hit the characters. Now something with like the face, where you're gonna have a little more detail. After you've painted it, take a marker, right? Basic marker, and then just draw out the outlines or add in your little textures, right? So basically, if I want to add in the beard, even though I have lines, I can do it just a touch more with the marker, right? And it doesn't have to be too much, just enough, just to kind of give that little extra look, little extra detail, right? And then see the eyebrow, right? Even the little bit more stress in the face because he's fighting, right? And there you are, boom. I've gone all the way around all of that. Very simple, very easy. If I want to, then I can even add highlights to those little areas that you know, in between, like the beard here. I can just add a little bit more highlight and give him a little bit more flair. Right? Yeah, I think it works. So there you are. Right? And if you go back to dark again. Yeah. Alright guys, so what I noticed was that I found that the gold on top of the gold was kind of blending. So what I'm going to do is I do this undertone of white, and then I'm going to put gold on top of that, and hopefully that'll pop that out. And then I took a black magic marker that had a little bit more flexibility to it, and just kind of went around those little lines just to kind of bring things a little better, bring them a little more forward, and see what happens. So now I'm going to add the gold and see where it goes with that situation. There you go, folks. George and the Dragon, done on Styrofoam. I think it turned out pretty good. Yeah, I'm happy with myself. And yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at. I'm happy with myself. Yeah. So there you are. A lot of blood and guts in this one, but there you are. So here is that old piece of Styrofoam, right? Did a little drawing originally, didn't like it, went with something else. But then, boom, there we are. Oh, sorry. George and the Dragon. Look at it. I think it turned out pretty cool. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with myself. So George and the Dragon, old story, but done on Styrofoam. It just goes to show you what you can do, right? You can cut around, make some different shapes and stuff like that. Do a picture inside of it, you know. I didn't go crazy, but I think it turned out nice, you know. And if you were a D&D person, you'd like this, you know. Yeah, pretty cool. Pretty cool. So there you are, George and the Dragon. They're done. I'm the Dragon. George, you're pissing me off. All right, there you are. So, what I gotta say today is, be cool like a big bull moose. And remember to wear your pants. Oh, yes.